Anton Bukov, co-founder and CTO at 1Inch. 1Inch is a DEX aggregator that works out the best crypto prices across decentralized exchanges.
Hi everyone, I'm trying to share my screen now. So I hope you can see it. Okay, great. So yeah, I'm here to tell you about DEX protocols. I will dive deep a little bit for 20 minutes into different protocols, how they differs from each other, and what is so interesting in this space, So I will tell you about order book based DEXs, about liquidity based DEXs called AMMs, like automated market makers, also about impermanent loss. All AMMs are subject for impermanent loss, most of them, and about aggregation. So basically, what's the exchange? What is a swap? Is when there are two groups of people. One of them want to buy something, and another group want to sell something. And when they meet each other at some concrete price, they both agree. Exchange happens. Historically, there are two kind of actors here. Those who create limit orders, they are called makers. They want to buy or sell something with exact price, and they will wait until someone who called takers, who execute market orders, will come and fill their orders. So the difference is simple. Limit order providers, they execute swaps for exact price, but they should wait for someone who will fill their orders. And takers, they will have immediate execution, but the price will not be fixed. It's also like a subject for price slippage. They could execute some orders at the best price and next orders at the little bit worse price. I will also use these words like on-chain and off-chain. It's pretty simple to understand. On-chain data availability means that this data is accessible for smart contract directly. You can just call smart contract and it can read or get somewhere this on-chain data on his own. And off-chain data is data which exists out of blockchain, and you have to provide this data into arguments. You have to tell this data to smart contracts. For example, this data could contain some proofs, like cryptographical proofs, like signatures or any other proofs. So historically, we saw appeared DEXs in the following order: Ether Delta, 0x protocol, AirSwap protocol, and Oasis. They all are order book based. This means that there are makers who create these orders and takers who can fill these orders, as I described it previously. And they have some differences. Some of them have on-chain available orders. Some of them have off-chain available orders. So these protocols are different. For example, AirSwap works on demand. You can request for quote and you will get off-chain order, but you can't analyze their order book. It's somehow hidden. Also, order books can be presented as this depth chart. So this is from the left side, you could see orders from those who want to buy, and on the right side, orders from those who want to sell. And this is not really interesting, because all this existed, all these ideas, they existed before. We saw them in traditional finance, on traditional exchanges, and we see them on centralized crypto exchanges as well. And the interesting thing which appeared first time on blockchain, it was liquidity-based DEXs. First of them appeared in 2017. It was Banker Network project. And the one thing all these projects solved is lack of availability, lack of liquidity. If you don't have any orders on order book based DEX, or there is like a huge spread between prices of for buyers and sellers, you can't actually trade this pair. But new kind of DEXs called liquidity based DEXs, you can just put some amount of assets inside it, and this smart contract will offer supply and demand for buying and selling. Smart contract will be a maker, and we need only takers. Those who want to swap can interact with the smart contracts. Banker network, as I said, was first project, and it was pretty interesting and innovative. And next project who came up on the horizon was Uniswap.Exchange. It was much simpler from math point of view. I will describe how it works. So you can see Banker network has an idea that it could have multiple AMMs, multiple DEXs. Each DEX should have two assets. And using this star architecture with BNT token in the middle, you can swap any token to any. For example, you can swap DAI to BNT on one AMM and BNT to Ether on another AMM. Uniswap made the same architecture, but they used pretty simpler formula, and you can see it's like looks like Banker, and have all the pairs to Ether. And new version of Uniswap launched in 2020, Uniswap version 2, have ability to have pairs of any two assets, not only to Ether. And one interesting thing that Balancer also appeared in 2020. I will show you okay. Balancer is like multi-dimensional Uniswap, where you can have multiple tokens and different proportions, not one-to-one proportion. And how it looks like, for example, Uniswap formula is pretty cool. You can come and ask this smart contract that you want to swap. For example, you can see Ether and MKR assets on pool. If you bring some Ether, it can easily compute how much MKR it will give you back. And if you will bring MKR, it will compute how much Ether it will return to you. And the formula behind it, this AMM will try to keep product multiplication of balances of these two assets constant. And this allows us have like geometrical representation. This is like a chart of how balances of these two assets they moves. So we can see they will never reach zero. And when you swap, for example, C minus A, you will get B minus D result. And the multiplication of these balances will be the same as you can see here. But yeah, Uniswap have 0.3 percentages fixed fee formula to allow liquidity providers to earn. So some people could put their two assets into the pool in their like equal proportion 1-to-1, and then pool will trade these assets, and at the end you will be able to withdraw, and you will earn all what pool earned for this period on this fixed fee. Balancer is a more advanced formula, and Uniswap is like one of the cases of Balancer. The formula is pretty straightforward. Multiplication of balances in power of their weights should be kept constant. Interesting fact, that both formulas for Uniswap and Balancer, they were proposed in early 2017, like 2 years before Uniswap version 1 and 4 years before Uniswap version 2 and Balancer. It was proposed by Alan Liu from Gnosis project. And one most interesting project is Curve.fi, Curve Finance. It was started in early 2020, and it have a more interesting formula for stable tokens. If you have multiple stable tokens of the same asset, like stable tokens of USD or different stable tokens to Bitcoin, you can put them into this pool. And initially, while this pool is almost balanced, the swap rate will be great. It will have like a fixed fee formula, but the more your pool is imbalanced, the more your formula will look like Uniswap formula. So it is like some kind of dynamic pool where formula is gradually changing from fixed fee formula to Uniswap like formula. And the next thing which is important here is when you have, for example, Uniswap pool with two different assets of the same value, when price changes externally, arbitrage traders swap, they rebalance pool to a new exchange rate, and what's like, if you want to understand what would happen to your portfolio if you keep it on your wallet, comparing to what would happen to your portfolio if you keep it on this Uniswap pool. The difference is impermanent loss. If relative price of two assets changed with some coefficient, you can see it here. You will have the difference. The difference of how it would compare to having these assets on wallet or having them in pool. The difference is here. So if your two assets on the pool change it in price one to each other, no matter in which direction, in 2 times, you will have 5.7% loss, comparing to if you just had these two balances on your wallet and these prices changed the same way. So yeah, it's pretty complex actually. So here we came to aggregators. What aggregators are and what they do. So we discovered, me with my co-founder at New York Hackathon in May 2019. We discovered that all these DEXs have different prices, and you have to check them all before you swapping something. And then we also built system initially which allowed you to automatically select the best source for swap. But right on the hackathon, we came up to idea that the more you swap on each DEX, the worse is the rate. This means if you want to swap less on each DEX, your price will be better. This means that you can distribute your volume among different pools. That way, that price will be super cool. And we can also visualize this as glasses with different liquidity is white, and different price is height of these glasses. So there are like multiple ways to fill user volume, and this way is not the best. The best way looks like this. When you equilibrate the price, you will advance price on all these DEXs with your swap, and you will equilibrate, and you will leave no space for arbitrage here. And this means that if previously arbitrage traders earned on you, now they can't. After hackathon, excuse me, I'm here again. So after hackathon, like half year after it, we also built more complex way to build roads. We found out that simple splitting among different protocols will improve price, but you could achieve more if you will try to build more complex roads. For example, here, if you are swapping Ether to USDT, you can swap it, some part could be swapped directly. This is not wrong. But you can swap also Ether to DAI, Ether to USDC, and then swap DAI and USDC using some stable token pools. And this means that building these roads is a really pretty interesting problem. And we found like some approaches, some solutions to it, but it have also always will have room for improvement. And that's what aggregators do. They combine all the liquidity of all the different on-chain protocols into single huge, highly liquid DEX. So that's why it matters. Okay. Yeah, that's it. I hope to see any questions from your side. Alex Lebed is asking, what's next? Yeah, the next is building more cool roads because this problem, I'm not sure it could be solved in an efficient way. Like it sounds like NP problem, non-polynomial. And we can always like build better approaches for this problem. And I see that currently we have different problem. High gas fees in Ethereum network do not allow people to trade hundreds of bucks. It makes no sense because fees would cost you tens of bucks, or some complex road could cost you 100 bucks now. And yeah, people are looking for way to optimize their spendings on fees. And we see that number of layer 2 solutions are building, like Optimism, which will be released at the end of this month. And some side chains activity like Binance Smart Chain have 8 times more gas each second, like in each block, and frequency of blocks is higher. Yeah.